Welcome to Glow Getter Guru. Let's go on this journey together to ignite our inner spark and illuminate the path to success and happiness. On this show, we're diving deep into the world of empowerment, motivation, and personal growth. Whether you're chasing your dreams, building your empire, or just need that little extra shine in your life, I got you, girl. Each episode, I'll be bringing inspiring stories, thought-provoking insights, and advice to help us unleash our full potential. So let's be the luminaries we were born to be, and let's light up the world together.
Welcome to Glow Getter Guru.
Okay, girls, it's time to be in our elevation era. Okay? First of all, please excuse me. Today I'm sick, so I'm kind of getting myself through this today. I did not want to skip a week, and I waited until the last minute, so I'm here and I'm going to do it sick. But I mean, at least I'm at home, so can't really complain about that. Let's talk about elevation. We are 6 months into the year. Can you believe that? 2024 has flown by. I feel like I blinked and next thing you know, we're halfway done with the year. Like, what is up with that? I don't even know. I need to take an inventory of what I've done so far this year. I feel like I've done a lot, but I also feel like I haven't done that much. Can you relate to that? Like, the year has gone by so fast, but what have we accomplished? Or not even just like accomplished, like, have you been out there? Have you been doing something? Have you been enjoying your life this year? Have things been happening? Have you been making things happen? Have things been happening to you? Good things. We'll get back to the bad things. But yeah, I mean, I just cannot believe that 2024 is almost over. I can't believe I'm gonna have another birthday. It's nowhere near my birthday. I just can't stop thinking about it because time is literally just flying by. Anyway, let's see. I am trying so hard not to sneeze or cough. Don't worry, girl. I'm wearing a mask. I'm not going to get you sick. So, today, I want to talk about us being in our elevation era. Hopefully, most of the time we're already trying to be in our elevation era, but like it's time to get serious, okay? I know we say we want these things and we have this like, I want to be married by this age and I want to lose this much weight by this time and I want to make 100 blog posts for my blog or, whatever it is we say. But we need to make sure we're actually, elevating because it's those small things that are going to get us there. So, what I want us to do to make sure that we're on the right track is that I want us to look at these things. And these are the things that I am considering that we do as part of our elevation era. So, one thing is that I want to look at everything that I've been through with a positive lens. When I think of something that has happened to me that is not ideal or that may have traumatized me, I like to ask the question, what if that was supposed to happen? Because after that happened, this happened. I'll give you an example. Me and my partner, we had separated, I think 4 years ago for like 8 or 10 months or something like that. And even though it was like a really hard time for me and very like traumatic to me for all the things that happened, I have I by some miracle I had a lot of money in my bank account that just kind of showed up at the worst possible time in my life, and so I bought a home, and I became a homeowner, and we worked things out months later, and now we have two homes and we continue to grow like that. So I'm like, okay, we went through this really bad experience together, but just a short time later, look, we have our first asset. We have something that we're going to be able to leave our son. So something bad happened, and then we created something beautiful from the things that we learned out of those things. So I ended up moving. I ended up getting a house. He has a house, and we agreed to, that we want to leave one of these houses for our son, and that it's still growing from there because now we're just closing on our first investment property, and it's kind of just like had a snowball effect. Something that was so bad, and now it's turned into something that we're growing around and trying to build our wealth around. And when I look back and I think of like other bad things that happened to me, I first of all, I look at life like a circle. You know, it's never, no one's going to go through life and everything is good all the time, but you're also not going to go through life and everything is bad all the time. It's a cycle. Things are good, and then things get bad, and then things get good again, and then things get bad again. So it's just like you cannot expect for things to always go smooth for your entire life. And I have learned to accept that. So I try to look at everything I've been through with the positive lens and look for the silver lining in everything. Like, what if this was supposed to happen? Because now that that's happened, it allowed for this. Okay. The next thing is that I have, goals. I wrote a goal setting guide. You can go get that on glowingonalllevels.com. I'll put a link in the show notes for you to get that goal setting guide because you can start it anytime during the year. So shameless plug there. But that leads me to my next point is that I every year I set goals and I work toward those goals. You know that. And I pretty much hit every single goal except one. We've talked about that. And I'm still continuously working on it. So what my philosophy is that in my elevation era, in our elevation era, we're going to start again every time we fail. Even if we're on a daily failure streak. If we fail today, tomorrow, the next day, every single one of those days we're going to start again even if we fail again. So it's a nonstop, never give up. And I understand some things are hard for some people and some things are easy for others. Like for me, um, it's it's super easy for me to manage my finances. It's super easy for me to stay out of debt. It's super easy for me to budget and plan things accordingly. That kind of stuff comes 100% naturally to me. And but then when it comes to weight loss, it's like the hardest thing on the planet for me. And then I have, several other friends, and one of them, she is like the idea of budgeting for years was just like so daunting to her. She didn't even look at her expenses. She didn't have a budget and she just was kind of like a swipe queen and just hope everything worked out. And she is a high income earner, so things were working out. But just because you're a high income earner doesn't mean that you're spending wisely. So that's an example of an area that she struggled in. And this lady has a six pack, so health and fitness come very easily to her. And I also have another friend who, shout out to her, she just lost 25 pounds. She was like, oh, I'm going to lose these 25 pounds by my birthday or whatever. Actually, I don't remember what her goal weight was. I just know that she said she was going to get some of that weight off of her. And here we are a few months later and she's down 25 pounds. Super easy. But there are other areas that she struggles in. And I'm like, how can that come to me so easily? And I'm like, I don't understand how she can struggle in that area. But both of them can look at me and say, I don't understand how she struggles in that area. It happens to all of us. We have our strengths and our weaknesses. So that's why I have at least made the commitment to never give up. I will start again every single time I fail because if you continue to try and try, one day it's going to click for you or it's going to happen for you or you're going to find something that works for you. And I'm not doing the whole insanity thing where it's what if you do the same thing over and over again and you expect different results, you're insane. No, like I'm trying different things until I can figure out what it is that's going to get that through to me and manageable. So starting again every time I fail, even if I'm failing daily, that's my commitment in my elevation era. So, whatever part of your life that applies to, make that commitment. Do not give up just because you failed again and again and again. You can never accomplish it if you give up. So, you have to continuously try. The next thing is in our elevation era, we are going to commit to trusting our intuition and being more decisive. Whenever we get those initial feelings or that first gut feeling of making a decision, let's just go with that. Let's practice going with our initial feeling. And we're not going to be right every time, but we're going to learn, our patterns on how to trust what our body is telling us about decisions we make, whether they're big decisions or small decisions. Let's just practice being more decisive and trusting yourself and trusting the decisions that you're making so that we can learn more about ourselves, look at any patterns of when we're right and when we're wrong. Like if we're making, we're going on a first gut feeling to always help someone, if they need money or they need somewhere to stay, we trust our gut feeling to say this person needs help and I want to help them. But if we get burned over and over and over again, like we might learn a lesson like, okay, my gut is telling me that I want to help them. But why is my gut telling me that? Because I'm an empathetic person. I really care about people and I want them to take care of. I want to be able to take care of those people, when I'm able to take care of them, why not? But also you're recognizing like, okay, I usually get this kind of gut feeling, but let me look at like logically in the past when I went with my instincts on this, what has happened, and then vice versa. Like think about the times where you had an initial instinct, but then you second guessed yourself and then you went with something else, and it turns out you should have went with your first intuition or your first guess. Like continue to trust yourself and listen to your intuition and learn your patterns and how you make decisions and when you're right and wrong, and kind of just trust yourself to figure that out so that you can make the best decisions for yourself, the most logical decisions for yourself that will have a positive impact for you. The next thing is I kind of been practicing this for a long time, but I continue to do it because I need to, in certain areas, I still find myself filtering a bit. So I want to say no filtering, but that could also be translated as kind of speaking up for yourself, being clear about your needs and your wants, and just being authentic to who you are and how you're feeling. So, not letting people pressure you and to doing something that you don't necessarily want to do because they're telling you it might be good for you. But if it goes against not necessarily like what you want, but if you're not interested in certain things or that's not the best for you, or you know that you shouldn't take that thing on or do that certain thing or behave a certain way because it's not going to feel aligned with you, then we're going to speak up for ourselves and we're not going to filter ourselves respectfully so that we're not wasting our life and our time doing things that we don't want to do. If there's something that is presented as an option, even if you feel pressure to do it, if it's presented as an option and you don't want to do it or it doesn't fit what you want to do, then say no. I'll give an example. I've been working on this development plan at my job to be promoted, and before, I would have did anything they said, to grow in my career. But now I'm kind of seeing like I think since you want to have so much say about when and I'm going to grow and what I'm going to do, I'm going to have more say in what I'm comfortable doing because I don't want to waste my time and I don't want to waste your time. So I like that my manager had been presenting me with, oh, you can work on this or you can work on that. And I'm telling him, no, I don't really want to work on that. That doesn't seem like something I'll enjoy. Let's find an equivalent to that that's more aligned with my interests. So that way I can give my best work, I can show up as my best self, and, we'll accomplish the goal that we want to accomplish together. So, no filtering. And also, that includes like with your friends and your personal relationships, just speaking up because your friends, if anything, those are the people that you should be able to not filter with the most. And I do kind of struggle sometimes filtering myself because just because I have an unawareness about how certain people interpret the things that I say, and no, it is not our problem how people interpret the things that we say. But I do think in a friendship, it's nice to be considerate of how someone's going to interpret something that you say. So I am still working on no filtering with certain people in my life because some people are just going to overthink the things that you say, or they'll misinterpret it the wrong way, or they will just not understand at all what you're saying. So that's one area that I'm still working on, but I am committed to not filtering myself and speaking up for myself and trying to be um, understood and trying to understand others. The next thing is no longer accepting what you're used to. And that doesn't necessarily mean like all the negative things that you've been accepting that you want to change. It could be something regular, like I keep going back to this reference because it's where I struggle the most. It's where you're not accepting what you're used to. Like if I'm used to making this like rice every single night, right? There's nothing bad about eating rice. You can eat less because anyways, calories in, calories out. You can eat less rice, right? But if I know that I'm more likely to go over what a normal portion size for rice is, I should no longer accept what I'm used to, and just going to say, oh, what if I just swap the rice out for something different? I'm no longer going to accept that I'm going to add rice to every dinner because I tend to overeat it, things like that. That's just a very basic example. The most extreme examples are you are involved with someone who continuously disrespects you, and because of whatever your relationship is to them, whether they're a family member of yours or they're an ex spouse and you have kids or something like that, or you work with someone and you usually let a lot of their disrespect pass you by because you're not confrontational or something like that, you're going to practice no longer accepting those things. And I know that is extremely hard. But that is something that you want to do because you don't want to go your whole life just brushing things off and being treated, you know, poorly or making decisions that could be better if you just changed them and you didn't accept that. Another one I have written down here is to practice bravery. So recently at my job we had a talent showcase, and I love to sing, but I've always been very insecure about it because I'm not like very good at music theory, So if someone asked me, oh, yeah, well, like for example, he asked me, oh, what are you going to sing and what key is the song in? I told him what I was going to sing. I was like, I don't know the key of the song. I sent him like a little singing snippet and he told me the key and he set it up. That's how it worked. But I signed up and I committed myself to doing the talent showcase. But I tried so hard to talk myself out of it because I was like, this is work and it's kind of scary. And I have to learn these songs if I want to sing them. And whenever I get nervous, I tend to forget lyrics. And I just tried to talk myself out of it. So I committed myself to being brave and I told myself, I can't tell people to embrace the cringe if I'm not going to embrace the cringe. And also, I have to start doing this because I love singing and I write and record music. And, ideally, I will be performing these songs one day. And I know that I could be a great entertainer. It's just, I would ideally like it to be perfect. But how do you get to that quote, quote, perfect? Because nothing's ever perfect. But it's practice and putting yourself out there and practicing bravery. So, I committed myself to doing it like 3 or 4 days before it started. So I committed myself to learning these songs like 3 or 4 days before the talent showcase. And, when you're practicing alone in your room, you're getting all the lyrics, you're learning everything, and everything's going perfect. But that doesn't consider like the nerves or being in front of an audience. And you never know when an audience is going to be like a boring audience and they're quiet and not involved, or if they're going to be like super involved. But yeah, I practiced bravery. I sang PYT by Michael Jackson, and the crowd loved it, first of all. The crowd loved it, and it's so funny because afterwards everyone was saying, "Oh, you were so confident and you just seemed so at ease with the mic and the audience was just in the palm of your hands." And it's so funny because I I guess I because I went to a performing arts school when I was younger, I learned a little bit about, stage presence and acting confident on stage and things like that. Like I did a bunch of little like plays from elementary school all the way through high school, which I loved. I was never brave enough to sing on stage, but Anyway, I learned a lot about, kind of faking it while you're up there, fake confidence. So it's so funny because I went there and I was like, okay, what are the things that I love the most about when I go to concerts? I love when the artist builds a connection with the audience and it feels like we're having a casual conversation. So those are the type of things I did to try to get my nerves down. So I went up there and I started introducing myself and I made a few jokes and everyone just thought I was so confident, but inside me, I was like, oh, it was kind of like nervous rambling, but it actually came out sounding really confident. And so I had made this joke. I said, this is a talent showcase. I have a few talents. You're going to see in a minute. I'm going to sing for you. I said, but I also have this really amazing talent of forgetting the lyrics. So the audience laughed, and that also kind of took pressure off of me because even though I practiced the lyrics so much and I knew that I knew them, I know myself. And the last couple times that I like staying on stage, I got so nervous that I forgot the lyrics, which is fine because, like I said, I went to this performing arts school and I know that the show must go on. Even if you mess up, you keep going like it's part of the show. So I knew at least I could do that. So I just made this joke like, I have an amazing talent for forgetting lyrics, and they laughed. And then the song started, and first of all, I picked PYT because it's an interactive song. The audience can scream out PYT, TLC, and at the end, there's like a repeat after me kind of back and forth that he does in the song. And I didn't know if the audience was going to participate or not because, like I said, it was a work event, but the entire audience participated, which boosted my confidence. So at that point, I was so glad that I was brave enough to push through. And I also didn't want to let my friend down because he was organizing the event and I go to his like house for a couple of parties and we like sing in his man cave. And so I didn't want to let him down by like bowing out. So that was another driver for me to commit. And I did end up forgetting the lyrics in the second verse. And it's so funny. I forgot the lyrics, but then I was dancing around and then I jumped right back in, and the rest of the song went amazingly. And at the end of it, I told them, I said, oh, thank you so much, for singing. That was so beautiful. And I'm so glad you got to see both my talents, which they loved because it was kind of obvious that I forgot the lyrics, but, you know, I made it with less pressure. And it was just really good. And yeah, I continued to sing two other songs, and it was great. And I was glad I was brave because afterwards, so many people were coming up to me telling me that I missed my calling as a pop star. And the crazy thing was, first of all, they gassed me. So I was like, I might open up for Beyonce next time. You're welcome for the free show. But had my full diva turned on the way they were gassing me, even though the show wasn't perfect. I forgot the lyrics on two out of the three songs. Of course, I winged it. My coworker said you couldn't even tell you forgot anything, and but I knew. And then I think for like the third song, I was off key for like two lines, because I was having my friend accompany me on the piano, and he like hit some wrong notes, and I don't know, my brain just rewired, and I started singing in a different key. Okay, back to our elevation error. The next thing is practicing big thoughts. So, since we're starting our investment journey and my partner is an entrepreneur, and even my son, he's starting to have entrepreneurial tendencies. He came home from the summer and he said, I'm going to cut grass and work out all summer. No, 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 no. He said, I'm going to get money and work out all summer. And he's been standing on business, okay? He's been cutting people's yards like every single day. And he's been trying to sell jobs in the neighborhood for his dad's remodeling business so that he can make a commission. And he just sold, and he did sell a job, and he made a $160 commission. And so just told me yesterday, he's like, I sold another job in the neighborhood, and so, like, he's out there getting it. So it makes me think that I want to be practicing big thoughts more because I have a dream for my family to be financially free and for me and my sexy Latino lover to have a comfortable retirement and for us to have a safety net for our son so that he can pursue anything that he wants to do in his life. And in order to have those types of dreams, I have to think bigger for myself. I have to say, okay, being millionaires is possible for us. Building something that is going to give us financial freedom is possible for us. Me being able to plan like luxury vacations several times a year with my family is possible. I have to think of those things because those are the things that I want. It's possible for me to change my health so that my son has health and he carries that on and he teaches his children about good health. So I am intentionally practicing big thoughts that I used to think were not possible for someone like me. I mean, to be honest with you, I make six figures now. Like I'm just kissing six figures. Okay, I'm not rich, but I am doing good. I'm living comfortably, and if you would ask me as a teenager if I even thought I could ever own a home or if I thought that I could live comfortably and not paycheck to paycheck, if you would have asked me, would I be able to take my family on a vacation every year? I would not have thought it was possible. I honestly thought that I would be a manager at Longhorn Steakhouse, and that's what I aspired to, to be honest with you. So I was thinking so little of what I could do in my life when I was an adult and what was possible for me because it was honestly like an impact of my environment because I wasn't seeing a bunch of adults close to me that were striving for more or trying to elevate their life or get educated or anything like that. So to me, the biggest thought I had was being a manager at Longhorn Steakhouse, which I freaking love Longhorn Steakhouse. It's my favorite restaurant to this day. But yeah, but I want to practice thinking bigger for myself because I don't think that there's anything wrong with wanting more. Like, be grateful for what you have. I'm grateful for where I'm at. I'm grateful for what I have. I mean, to be honest with you, it's the weirdest thing. Like, sometimes I will even like just be in the kitchen and I'll wash my hands and I'll turn around and there's a roll of paper towels. And it's literally the smallest, silliest thing, but we never had paper towels in our house growing up. And sometimes I'm just like, wow, I made it just because I have paper towels. Like, and if that roll runs out, I can go to the storage closet and get another roll and I can afford to keep restocking them. It's silly, but like literally, I wasn't even used to that. So it's the fact like that I can have those small things. Even like underwear. We were not wealthy growing up. So, like, I would say this is kind of like TMI, but like most of my life I grow up, there were three of us girls and we had to share underwear and like they would be like old and have holes in them and stuff. And it just like I just feel like a lot of our basic needs we didn't have regularly. And my parents did the best that they could. And I think it's hard with four kids and you're working nonstop and when you have so much going on, it's easy to overlook things. Because I'm an adult and I only have one kid and I have a lot going on and I overlook things sometimes. But now I have like a month. I've had a monthly membership with like the Adore Me company, like bra and panties for like 3 or 4 years. So literally every month I can get a new pair of underwear. Like those are the things that I'm super grateful for to have now that I wasn't used to having like regularly. So literally like paper towels and underwear. Like I'm literally still here as a grown ass woman being grateful that I can afford to have those things. Because even now there are other adult women that can't afford those things, you know? I remember I was in science class in high school, and my science teacher, I don't even know what she was lecturing us on because, we were teenagers. We didn't really care what she was talking about. But I think she was talking something like, I can't even tell you, maybe, but I just remember her saying, like, yeah. And, my underwear has holes in them. And I just, like, looking back now, I'm like, that's kind of sad. So, like, I don't know. I just feel grateful that if a wire comes out of my bra or my underwear is ruined or rips, if it's a lace and it rips in the like laundry room, I can throw them away and I can afford to buy a new pair. I know like that's a small luxury that I'm grateful to have. But being grateful for those small luxuries and where I'm at in life does not mean that we cannot strive for more. You know, people that strive for more, those are the people that become the billionaires and they have the retirement or they retire early or they get to travel. I'm not looking to have like designer bags and belts, but there are some luxuries in my life that I still aspire to have. And so practicing big thoughts is part of my elevation era because I don't want to hold myself back and keep me in this life because I think that it's my ceiling, because I don't think that I have a ceiling and I don't think that you have a ceiling. And so we need to be practicing big thoughts because we can have the things that we want and we are deserving of the things that we want. And if you're going out to get those things that you want and you're working for them, why not have them? You can have them. So practice those big thoughts. Another thing that I have to reflect on in my elevation era is, am I working hard enough? Because I remember when I first started my career, how hungry I was to have it. And like I was selling the hell out of myself in interviews and I was nonstop applying to jobs. And when I got my first job, I worked so hard to go above and beyond and be the best I could be because I wanted to grow and I wanted to get better. And I had certain goals that I wanted to meet, like financially and, career wise. But like I got comfortable for a long time and I kind of stopped trying to be better for a while because I felt good with the life that I had. But you know what? It was when inflation went up that I realized that I wasn't living as comfortably as I was before. And I'm like, wow, I got comfortable and I stopped dreaming big. And now I have these other goals, but how am I going to get to them without having something to work towards? And when I have something to work towards, am I working hard enough? Like when I said I wanted to start this podcast, how long was I saying I wanted to start a podcast before I actually invested in a course? And then did I show up for the course? Did I do all my homework? Am I being consistent? Am I actually working hard enough at those things? So when it comes to the podcast, I've been super consistent. I'm trying to learn more about production and I'm trying to get better at the editing and the videos and coming up with ideas. So I know in this area I'm working hard. Again, with the health stuff, I ask myself, am I working hard enough? Am I being mindful when I have something in front of me? Am I saying to myself my mantra of the month, which is, the input determines the output? Am I working hard enough? Am I giving in and saying, oh, it's okay if I just have this one meal and then one meal turns into six different meals that are not healthy? I have to question, am I working hard enough? Because part of dreaming big means that you have to back up that with the work that you're doing. So if you want these things to happen, you have to go get them. You can't just talk about it. And so that comes with working for it and creating a plan, even if that's a daily plan with small steps, which I mention in my goal setting book, which I will have the link in the show notes if you want to purchase that guide and start setting some goals for yourself and following through. So now that I've plugged that again, go get that. So the next thing is, oh, the other thing is with the working hard enough is also to make sure that it's balanced. I'm strongly against hustle culture. I don't believe in like burning the candle at both ends until you're completely burned out. I believe that you can work hard, you can do less, and you can do it with a higher quality. So you don't have to be feeling like you're sleep deprived or that you're staring at something so long that you can no longer focus on it. Like have a healthy balance, but just make sure that you're still working. The difference is thinking about it versus taking steps to do it. So are you working hard enough and making sure that you're not burning yourself out? And I just have a few more here. And so I'm actually not ready to share that. That's for another episode. That's practicing empathy, but I can go into a whole rabbit hole about that. So the last one is continuous learning. So in your elevation era, consuming knowledge and putting it to practice. That's going to elevate your life. So those things that you want, you need to learn about them, research them, digest them, but also put them into practice because Reading and watching videos and consuming the knowledge is one thing, but also part of the learning process is actually putting those things into practice. So that's what I'm doing with this investment property. It's scary to borrow a large amount of money when you don't really know like the ins and outs of all of the like the lending and trying to learn about the interest rates and all kind of new terms that I'm learning as part of this process, and then like making estimates on the budget of like remodeling the house and all kinds of things that I'm not used to, but I'm just going to learn as I go. So I'm continuously learning. So whatever goes wrong here, I'm going to be reflecting on why did that go wrong? And so that I don't do it, on the next one. So that's it for today, because I'm like dying right now. Um, but I didn't want to miss a conversation with you. So I am so excited to have talked to you today. And thank you for listening. As always, I appreciate you being here. Please share this episode with a friend or reach out to me on Instagram and let me know what resonated with you or what you liked about this episode. Or if you want to hear me talk about something else that has been on your mind and you don't really have anyone to talk about it with, I am more than happy to talk about it with you. I have something that I need to talk about on here that someone requested, and that is postpartum depression. So if that's something that you want to hear about too, just let me know. And I'll see you next week. Bye, girl.
Thank you so much for listening to Glow Getter Guru today and for tuning in. I really appreciate you. Do me a favor. If there was something that you loved about this episode or that you connected with, please let me know. Connect with me on Instagram. I can't wait to hear from you. Talk to you soon. Bye.